Okay, good morning. We'll get started. I'd like to welcome everyone to the first meeting of the Senate Standing Committee on Transportation for the 2026 regular session. This morning, it's really an honor to please join me in welcoming our new member to the committee, Senator Gary Clemens, the new senator from District 37 in Jefferson County, and a new member of the committee during the interim and during session. And we have a new intern. Also, we want to introduce Chance Stathers. Welcome, Chance. We'll try not to work you too hard this time, okay? But if you don't mind, join me with a round of applause to welcome these gentlemen. Okay. With that said, ask everyone to please silence your cell phones. We'll be talking about them today anyway, but silence them for now. And Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Senator Berg. Present. Senator Carpenter. Senator Clemens.
Here.
Senator Elkins.
Present.
Senator Smith.
Present.
Senator Storm.
Here.
Senator Wheeler. Senator Williams.
Here.
Senator Wilson. Vice Chair Douglas.
Present.
Chairman Higdon.
Here. We do have a quorum present and duly constituted to do business. There's no minutes to approve. Any members have any guests today? I have one, Senator Gary Boswell. Welcome. Glad you're here today to sit in on. Glad you're here. Thank you for showing interest in what the Transportation Committee's doing. So with that said, our first order of business today is Senate Bill 7, an act relating to the issuance of identity documents, sponsored by Senator Reed. Senator Reed, please identify yourself for the record, and if you have any guests, call them forward. But the young man, the floor is yours.
Good morning. I'm Senator Aaron Reed. I don't have any guests this morning, but Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, I thank you for the opportunity to be present and to present Senate Bill 7. Unless you have a regional office in your backyard, every one of us has heard the same message from constituents that the current driver's license system is not meeting the needs of Kentucky. You know, we have long drives, long lines, and repeated delays have created real frustration across the Commonwealth. In many rural counties, families are traveling up to an hour or more just to obtain a license. You know, this is not accessible government, and it's not the standard that we should accept. Senate Bill 7 provides a practical, conservative solution by giving counties the option to bring driver's license renewals back home. It's not a mandate. I need to stress that. It is an option. It's a tool that they can use to better serve their citizens. Some key highlights of Senate Bill 7 are its renewals and duplicates only in this bill. Counties will handle simple, efficient services, not first-time licensing or testing. Participation is voluntary. No county is required to take this on. This is local choice, not a top-down mandate, if you will. We are not ramming anything down anyone's throat. So there's also a $25 convenience fee added to this. It's retained locally so that the counties can break even and avoid an unfunded mandate that you hear so much about. Multiple constitutional offices eligible. County clerks, circuit clerks, sheriff's department, county judge executive. They can participate in increasing with all four of these. It opens up the option that there'll be a chance that there'll be room in that county to offer this service. Interlocal agreements are allowed. Counties may partner with one another to share equipment, personnel, or even space to best serve their residents. Before filing this bill, I spoke with several officials across all four of those groups. and who would take on this responsibility. Two concerns came up repeatedly, and that's space and funding. And this bill directly addresses both of those issues, space and funding. So by allowing any of the 4 constitutional offices to participate, we expand the likelihood that a county has adequate space, and by creating a $25 convenience fee that stays local, counties can sustain the service without absorbing extra costs. In short, Senate Bill 7 is not a mandate, and it is not unfunded. It is voluntarily, it is self-funded, and built around local flexibility. This bill strengthens rural access, reduces travel burdens on families, improves customer service statewide, and restores accountability to local officials who already serve their communities with excellence. And most importantly, Kentucky deserves a government that solves problems, not one that explains them away. So when something isn't working, we fix it. Members, Senate Bill 7 is about restoring trust, restoring convenience, and restoring local control. I respectfully ask for your support on this bill, and I thank you, sir.
Thank you, Senator Reed, and we have some questions. Senator Elkins, was that you had your hand up?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senator Reed, thank you for your work on this bill. It's a very important bill, and I know you spent a great deal of time during the interim working on it, and I appreciate the work that you've done on it. Question for you. I know one of the comments or problems that we've seen was some fraud cases that took place with issuing driver's license. Do you think restoring this back to the county level will help with that fraud issue? And did you have any thoughts on that as you put this together?
Thank you, Senator Elkins. It won't directly affect the fraud. However, this, again, is going to be renewals only. And important to note is that anyone, the burden will be on the local elected officials. So the people, if there is fraud, will be able to hold their elected officials accountable. Currently, in the Transportation Cabinet, you're talking about bureaucracy, and it's hard to hold them accountable. But this will go to the counties where the people will be represented directly.
One follow-up, Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes, sir.
The other thing I'd like to say, and I shared your post on Facebook, and I had, in one of my counties, 2 of the officials in the same county said, "We'll take it, we'll do it." It was circuit clerk and the county clerk both reached out to me and said, "I'd love to do that in my office." So you've done something right here. I wondered, and I was concerned that we may not get people that wanted to do it, and it doesn't seem to be the case. So thank you for that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Senator.
Any other questions? Senator Smith.
Yes, I want to commend the sponsor of the piece of legislation. This is a big undertaking. It certainly wasn't easy, as I'm sure you found out working on it. But just to take you back in the summer, Chairman Higdon had reached out to me, and I think several other members really trying to seek a solution. And I thought it was a nice, bold approach to bring us in and ask probably many members across different regions of the state. And I had reached out and talked to Jim Lewis and some people from my area, and reported back to him. And one thing was consistent, that people wanted something done. This has really put a lot of strain on some areas. If you have one in your area, it's not bad, but if you're in a rural area and you're, have any kind of health issues, whatever, it becomes a boondoggle, if you will. So this is certainly not an easy topic, but I'm curious about a few things. I mean, since it does include a lot of organizations we work with, for example, KCO, or the League of Cities, have these groups weighed in? Like, do we have any kind of opinions from them, or what their stance is? Do you have any feedback from them that you could share with our committee?
Well, Senator, I haven't spoke with every one of them directly, but multiple members throughout different agencies, like you mentioned there, and many of them are neutral. No one is really against it. As I had, county clerks and circuit clerks and judges and sheriffs, when I spoke with them, my goal was really to get them above neutral or better, because like when I filed this bill yesterday, a lot of swords may have come out about halfway, and then when they read it, they slowly slid the sword back in, and it's like, oh, this isn't that bad. This actually makes sense. So, like I haven't had the conversation directly with every bit of leadership that you listed there, but I'm open for conversation with them and to explain where we're at in this bill, and I think they'll be pleasantly surprised. I think most people will be for it, but will come up as neutral just because they have so many people to appease.
Mr. Chairman, a follow-up? if I
Yes,
may.
sir.
And just to follow up on that, and I wanted to do some background here so people understood that you had gotten invited by the chairman to really kind of look into this like a lot of us and did the work and came up with this bill. We appreciate that. I just want to ask the chairman, do we have anybody from those organizations that want to speak or talk to us before we vote on it so we can hear any side of that? Has anybody signed up to speak for it?
We have no one signed up to speak against
Okay.
or for it,
Very good.
other than the bill sponsor.
Well, that's not a bad sign, I guess. But yeah, thank you for the questions. I yield, Mr. Chairman.
Thanks,
Any,
Senator.
Senator Douglas has a question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. More of a comment than a question. Senator Reed, I really want to thank you for bringing this legislation. And two things popped through my mind as I was listening to you present this bill. Number one, I want you to know that our aging population are those persons in that category are really going to be happy. They're going to be happy because now they have an option. They have an option of staying local and not having to leave their homes, and that's difficult, especially in the winter months. So this will help them tremendously. The second thing I want to thank you for is that this actually, again, leaves it locally. It allows those local elected leaders it almost forces them to work together to make some decisions, in their elected positions, without them worrying about, what the state's going to say. So I just want you to know that I really appreciate this, and thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Douglas.
Senator Williams.
Yeah, I just want to note you did an outstanding job getting, I think, 28 senators as co-sponsors, including the minority floor leader. So this is truly a bipartisan bill. I think maybe some others will jump on it before it's all over.
I welcome
but
that.
You did a great job bringing a bipartisan bill and getting a lot of co-sponsors for it, which I think is indicative of the support around the state for this.
Thank you, Senator.
So,
All right.
motion?
We have a motion on the
Second.
bill. We have a second. Don't want to interfere with that progress. We have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Senator Berg. Senator Carpenter. Senator Clemens. Senator Douglas.
Aye.
Senator Elkins.
Aye.
Senator Smith. Senator Storm. Senator Wheeler. Senator Williams.
Aye.
Senator Wilson. Chairman Higdon.
Aye. Motion carries. The bill passes with the favorable expression of opinion that same shall pass. Congratulations on your first step of a long process to get a bill passed. We certainly thank you for being here today, and again, congratulations.
Thank you, Senator. We pray for Godspeed on this one.
Amen. I like your military analogy on the sword, too, by the way. All right. Next up, Senate Bill 30, an act relating to the Motor Vehicle Commission. Senator Elkins. We'll give him a minute to get down to his position. And Senator, you know the routine. Identify yourself for the record, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I am Senator Greg Elkins, Senate of the 28th Senate District. I appreciate your time this morning to talk about my bill, Senate Bill 30. Senate Bill 30 really is just a cleanup bill. It has some cleanup language for the Motor Vehicle Commission. It'll allow funds to carry forward at the end of each year. The Motor Vehicle Commission, for those that aren't familiar, regulates and licenses motor vehicle manufacturers and dealers, salespersons throughout the Commonwealth. The commission collects a license fee, and those fees are deposited into a restricted fund, and they're used for the operations of the commission. What this bill does is it allows those funds to carry forward. Currently, at the end of a fiscal year, they cannot, there's nothing that says they can carry forward. So this bill simply says they can carry these funds forward. Previously, those funds would have lapsed at the end of the year, and this takes care of that issue. Mr. Chairman, that's all I have, but I'll be happy to entertain any
Well,
questions.
thank you. I do want to make a comment on the the Motor Vehicle Commission. They're great folks to work with. They do good work. One of their primary missions is the lemon law, and we're all familiar with that. And trust me, they do a very good job. If a consumer gets hold of buys a new vehicle that doesn't function properly, they're very good at getting that resolved. And so they are worthy of this. And like I said, that is a little glitch in the legislation that we passed several years ago.
Yeah, and as I said, that is a restricted fund, so they really just use, it's a couple of $1 million we're talking about, and they use those funds just for the operation of the
Yeah.
commission.
They have a fairly substantial enforcement group out in the field. So like I said, they do good work. Any questions? Yes, we have one. Senator Byrd.
Thank you, sir. Prior to this, what happened to that money at the end of the year?
So there's not, it hasn't been a problem since 2014, but those funds are just stuck there, I guess, until the end of the biennium, and then they would be swept or reallocated, if I'm not mistaken.
Follow up?
Yes, please.
So, by allowing them to accumulate, would they
This
still
would-
be swept at the biennium?
No, so if they had funds at the end of the year remaining in the account, they would be able to use them in the upcoming year. Currently, they can't do that. and this-
Understood,
this-
understood. It makes perfectly good sense. Are we going to cap how much they're allowed to accumulate, anything like that, or they could?
This bill doesn't address
Doesn't
that
do
at all.
that.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
You touched on it, though. It is restricted funds. They can only use it for the operation of that.
That is correct.
All right. Any further questions? Seeing none, I entertain a motion on the bill.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Berg. Senator Carpenter.
Aye.
Senator Clemens.
Aye.
Senator Douglas.
Aye.
Senator Elkins.
Aye.
Senator Smith.
Aye.
Senator Storm. Senator Wheeler. Senator Williams.
I'd like to explain my aye vote.
Please proceed.
Besides the merits of this bill, I'm voting for it because it actually removes from statute more lines than it adds to statute. So that is a well-crafted bill. Not that many more lines, but it does. It's positive to remove lines from statute. So I vote aye.
Senator Wilson. Chairman Higdon.
Aye. Motion, we have, okay. Senate Bill 30 is reported favorably with the expression of opinion that same shall pass. Congratulations, Senator Elkins. And Senator Williams, we thank you for that observation that it takes, maybe save a little bit of paper. I'm going to turn over, thank you again. and
Thank you, Mr.
congratulations.
Chairman, and thank you, members of the committee. I appreciate your time.
I'm going to turn it over now to my vice chair. I have a bill to present. I do want to mention to keep Senator Wilson and his wife, Cammie, in your prayers. Her father passed away last night, and so keep them in your thoughts and prayers. And that's explains why he's not here today. So thank you, and Mr. Vice Chair, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
The gavel's yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I want to thank all of you all for joining us this morning. It is always a pleasure for us to serve you, but it's also always a pleasure to have you all come in and make sure that we are serving you in the appropriate way. The last thing on our agenda today is Senate Bill 28, an act relating to operating a motor vehicle. Although this gentleman does not need any introduction, I must ask you for the record, Senator Higdon, please state your name for the record.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. I'm Senator Jimmy Higdon. I represent the 14th Senate District. We have this bill today, the distracted driving or hands-free bill. This bill has been introduced many times, including last year, Mr. Chairman, your bill, and a very good bill, but didn't quite make it the distance. And so I've worked on the bill to try to remove some of the comments we heard last year when we worked on your bill. And so this is somewhat watered down, but it is a hands-free bill. All of our contiguous states have a hands-free legislation. So if you leave Kentucky going anywhere, you're in violation of those laws if you have a cell phone in your hand. So what this is called hands-free, you can still use your cell phone, but can't hold it in your hand. I had really no intention of getting involved in this bill till Alicia Burns came forward. Her daughter, Kimberly Burns, was killed by a distracted driver in Louisville a couple years ago. And she's made it her life's mission to see that this legislation was passed. And so even though the bill's not named for Kimberly, I do that out of respect and for her memory. And others like her that a distracted driver took her life. And again, this bill is fairly straightforward. Distracted driving is a major contributor to motor vehicle crashes, deaths, and injuries on Kentucky and U.S. roads. The use of electronic devices for communication and entertainment can readily distract drivers from the driving task, as found by safety research, studies, and data. National Transportation Safety Board includes distracted driving as the number one issue of 7 specific safety issues that need further action in its highway focus area of advocacy. The true impact of distracted driving remains unclear due to the issues with underreporting of crashes involving distracted drivers, including differences in police crash report coding and database limitations when it comes to cell phone use. According to an opinion poll commissioned by advocates to conduct a survey by the Engine Insights in December 2024, 83% of the respondents were very or extremely concerned with distracted driving caused by talking on cell phones, texting, or using other devices. Research has shown because of the degree of cognitive distraction these devices cause, the behavior of drivers using cell phones is equivalent to the behavior of drivers on the threshold of the legal limit for alcohol in most states, which is 0.08. So that's pretty telling if that. NTSB most recent survey on the issue found, when compared to prior surveys, that twice as many people report cell phone use, whether talking or texting, when they were involved in a crash or near crash. The survey also indicated a high level of support for laws banning the behavior. 92% of the respondents supported state laws banning cell phone use while driving, or held in the hand. Like I said, this bill is fairly straightforward. And the bill, if you look at the bill, it talks about what a cellular telephone is. What we're talking about a mobile electronic device is a cellular telephone, portable computer, a GPS, electronic game, or anything substantial similar standalone electronic device used to communicate, display, or record digital content. Does not include citizen band radio, amateur radio, ham radio, commercial two-way radios, or its functional equivalent. While operating a vehicle on a public highway in the Commonwealth, this law would say the person shall not hold or support with any part of their body a mobile electronic device, and they shall not prohibit the use of it. It does not prohibit. Again, it does not prohibit the use of an earpiece or device worn on the wrist to conduct voice-based communication. So we're not outlawing the iWatch, just the phone up to your ear or held on any part of your body. I don't know where else you would hold it, except in your hand. But holding a cell phone to your ear does take away your peripheral vision, and that's why we see a lot of accidents involving motorcycles, pedestrians, and bicycles. This also says that you shall not read, compose, or transmit any text, including but not limited to text messages, emails, applications, application interaction, or website information on a mobile electronic device. You shall not watch moving images, including but not limited to video, movies, games, or video calls while driving. Your passenger can watch a video, but you can't. This section shall not apply to motor vehicle operators who are in a motor vehicle that is lawfully parked or stopped. If you're stopped in traffic, and Mr. Chairman, that was one of the biggest complaints we had with last year's bill, that it said you had to pull over to the side of the road. You couldn't talk while you were stopped at a traffic light or stuck in traffic. This bill doesn't limit that. It does not prevent you from initiating a voice-based communication that is automatically converted by the device and sent as a text if the device is not held by the operator or supported by any part of the body. I don't know why that's in there, and I still can't imagine what other part of the body you would support a cell phone with other than your hand. But it does not prevent you from reporting an accident, emergency, or safety hazard to public safety officials. It does not prevent you transmitting or receiving data as part of a digital dispatch system while performing your occupational duties. It does not prevent first responders from performing official duties, and does not prevent using a mobile electronic device for the purpose of navigation, initiating or ending a cellular phone call. It does not prevent you from unlocking the device. It does not prohibit the use of equipment or services installed by the original manufacturer of the vehicle, so the built-in electronic device or Bluetooth. Also, a lot of questions last year is about law enforcement, what they could and could not do. This is very restrictive on what a police officer can do. A police officer shall not stop a person for a violation of this section unless the officer has visually observed that a violation has occurred based on the officer's clear and unobstructed view of the person who is unlawfully using an electronic mobile device. So the police officer has to physically see you and have an unobstructed view of using the device while operating a vehicle on a public highway. The officer shall not seize, search, view, or require the forfeiture of the electronic mobile device because of the violation of this section. The officer shall not search or request to search a motor vehicle, the operator or passenger in the motor vehicle solely because of the violation of this section. A police officer shall not make a custodial arrest solely because of violation of this section. And the transportation shall install signage advertising drivers of this section at every point where a state highway enters the Commonwealth and at various points across the state. The fine for this is $100. There's no points assessed to your driver's license if you're fined for this, and a portion of the fee, 35% of it goes to the Traumatic Brain Injury Trust Fund. 35% of it is transferred to Kentucky Trauma Care System. and 30% is transferred to the Veterans Program Trust Fund. Mr. Chairman, that's a bill, and like I said, it's a this bill models South Carolina's bill that they passed last year, and again, it's probably one of the least restrictive hands-free bills in the country, but it's a step in the right direction. It adds Kentucky to the list of states, approximately 30 states across the country, that do not allow you to have a handheld device in your hand and communicate with it. So, Mr. Chairman, I'd be glad to entertain any questions, and appreciate a positive vote on this bill.
Well, thank you for the presentation, Senator Higdon. Obviously, I'll get to the questions, but I'd like to say a few things first. As a practicing physician for the last 40 years, I really appreciate what you're bringing here. I've spent a lot of nights in the operating room helping to put people back together who were distracted and who ended up in the operating room. And I want you to know I really got tired of seeing our sons and daughters in the emergency room, in the operating room, because of the distraction. So I appreciate it for that account.
Mr. Chairman, I can't help but think every time I see in the news a head-on accident or a lane departure where a vehicle leaves the road and hits a tree or something else, or where a vehicle hits a pedestrian, a bicyclist, or a motorcyclist, I can't help but think there's a good probability it was caused by this phone to a person's ear. I myself, knowing that I was going to carry this bill, have been working on not driving distracted and not having a phone to my ear. I'm about 95% compliant, Mr. Chairman. And by the time this bill passes and becomes law, I will be 100% compliant. And then I want to set a good example. That's always been kind of my goal, is set a good example.
Thank you. I also want to address, I've heard some concerns about, law enforcement and how they might abuse this. And one of the things that's always struck me is how how so many people assume that others are less honest than we are. And I think we have a really good society here in our country, and I think we need to start trusting each other. And the third thing I just want to point out initially is that, accountability can be scary. It really can be scary. And I think that's something not many people want to be held accountable. They just want to hold everybody else accountable. With that being said, we do have a few questions on the list here. Senator Smith has a question.
I do, Mr. Chairman. I've got a question and a comment. Chairman Higdon, just quickly, I was curious because this is a remarkable piece of legislation. But so if I'm in a truck and I'm driving, I have a CB. A lot of people on jobs and stuff like that will keep the radio here. You've seen them. They kind of have it come around. They'll pick up and talk back and forth through the job. So would that fall under this if I'm on a CB, if I'm a trucker working on a coal job and I'm communicating with the guys running to town to get lunch for everybody, would I get a ticket for that?
Senator Smith, you're in luck. It specifically says in this piece of legislation with the truck drivers in mind and the federal law about the restrictions on having a CDL. If you have a CDL, you're already banned from using a handheld device except for the CB radio. And the law specifically says this does not include a citizen band radio,
Gotcha, okay.
amateur radio, ham radio, commercial two-way radio, or its functional equivalent.
All right, and if the Chairman, if you'd indulge me with a follow-up question. So, Senator Higdon, say I'm an elderly gentleman or lady, and I have an older car, and that car is not equipped with modern stuff out there. I don't have earbuds or so, but it's very common to see somebody that's talking like this on it, which my wife assures me that doesn't really help, no matter how close you get it. But so they're driving like this and they're focused, but that's their way to communicate. That would be in violation if this bill is correct, right?
Senator Smith, if they have the phone in their hand, it would be a violation. But if they use a speakerphone because they don't have the Bluetooth in the vehicle, they had it laying on the console or in a stand or one of those magnets that you put on your dash, just as long as it's not in their hand, they are in compliance with the law.
Okay, I want to make sure on that one. We've had a couple of run-ins with some people that have been concerned, about how that would apply to them, and their cars don't have the more modern fixtures to it. And I'll just wrap with a statement if I can. On my desk, I have two pictures of the little Burns girl and a little girl that died a very long time ago when I came in, Marcia Nicole Neese, and probably remember the little girl. Both of them were killed from people that were probably pretty decent people. They just weren't paying attention. My guess is if they could go back, they would do anything to take those days back over. I can't imagine what would happen. But I saw the fallout and destruction of what happened to the family in my district after that happened to them. So it is a very, very serious topic that we take on. I participate each year in a national rally where we ride adventure bikes across the U.S. And I will tell you, this last year has been the worst. We actually started counting, because I think when you're in a motorcycle, you really, really are more aware how many people we saw that were on their phones. And really, it's probably never been as dangerous. But we got to one point, we'd gone past 50-some cars, and every single one of them had something going on, or was in their hand, or was looking away from the road when they went through. So it's good we have awareness out there, but this is something that is big. Other states are taking the lead. I'm tired of Kentucky being at the bottom of a lot of lists we should be at the top of, or at the top of a lot of lists we should be at the bottom of. So I do appreciate the work you've done on this. I know your heart's in the right place. If this could go back and save any of those children, I'd say everybody in this committee would vote for it 100 times over. So with that, I commend you for your work in there and appreciate it, Jimmy.
Thank you, Senator Smith. And as I said earlier, they equate talking on the cell phone as equivalent as driving drunk. This is not a criminal penalty by any chance. It's a $100 fine, but hopefully we'll get people's attention that this is a problem in Kentucky and across the country. And we want our roads safe. As transportation chairman, that's part of what we do in the transportation committee. Part of our job is, we build roads and pass laws for economic development, congestion, and safety. We want Kentucky roads to be safe.
Mr. Chair, could I just follow up with one question? Is that money earmarked for anything particular, Senator Higdon? Are we putting it somewhere in for some kind of prevention or training, or is that just going into the general fund for them?
No, it goes to some organizations, the Brain Trust, Traumatic Brain Trust Fund. 35% of it goes to the Kentucky Trauma Care Fund, and 30% goes to veterans programs.
Thank you, Senator Smith. Senator Storm?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have just a couple. May I?
Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator, for bringing this. I would ask you to turn your attention to page 3, line 25. And I notice we have representatives from KYTC here in the room with us, and it says here that the Transportation Cabinet shall promulgate regs regarding this act, correct?
You misread that. It says may instead of shall.
Okay. So I guess I want to go on record today, since they're here in the room, and ask this question. We have a lot of children that have recently been able to obtain their driver's license once they obtain the age of 15, and my son recently obtained his at 16, but in the driver's manual, there's nothing in there about this currently. So once this becomes law, will KYTC update all the driver's manuals throughout the state so that children or those who are obtaining driver's license are aware of this change in the law?
And that's a very good question. I would hope that Kenny Bishop wouldn't mind coming forward and answering that question for us. Is he moving?
He's starting to. Thank you.
Before you speak, Kenny, please identify yourself for the record.
Certainly. Kenny Bishop, Legislative Director at the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet.
Proceed.
Sure. Senator Storm, to answer your question, certainly KYTC, we're going to follow the law that's passed, and it would behoove us, and it would just make sense that everything, all of the training manuals and information would be updated and current, and this is something that we'll look at to make sure that it's included.
Okay, thank you. And the second one was, you mentioned that we have a lot of neighboring states and folks that travel through Kentucky, and oftentimes when I go through those states, I see there's signs as you enter the state that say hands-free state or cell phones down. Will we also do the same thing here in Kentucky and notify motorists that the law's changed and they're now under this new regulation?
Well, I think the bill, as I've read it, includes signage. So at all of the entry points into the state, we'll have signage there. And then, of course, at other points throughout the state. As you drive along our interstates and parkways now and other state highways, you see the signs that say phone down, buckle up, phone down. And so those pretty much do the same thing, but we would probably look at maybe even replacing some of those signs that refer to the law in Kentucky. So that would make good sense. But we would have our sign folks and our folks in the Department of Highways look at those and of course, work with the appropriate folks to make sure the verbiage is best.
Thank you.
Is that it, Senator Storm? Okay. Senator Wheeler?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Chairman Higdon, I want to commend you on just a really good product that's, I think, really gets at the basis of the problem, yet at the same time, is I guess accommodates a learning curve. I mean, as you yourself stated, I think these have become ubiquitous in our lives, either for good or for bad. And I'm guilty as charged with probably breaking this law every once in a while. But I shouldn't. And I think that your bill actually does something that it brings it to the forefront and into the public consciousness that we need to do a better job of policing ourselves. The only question I have, and I think I believe that you have done this, but I was looking on page 4, beginning at line 19. It says neither court costs nor fees shall be taxed against any person violating paragraph C of subsection 5, and then it looks like appears on page 6, subsection 5. Is the fine. So you are not intending, if it's a prepayable citation, that court costs be assessed to that. Is that
That's correct.
okay? So
Just like the seatbelt law, it's just a prepayable
just
fine.
a prepaid fine. All right. That was just wanted to make sure we had that clarified on the record. So
Well, we will double check to make sure that is the fact. That was the legislative intent, but we'll make sure that it's.
it appeared to me to be that way. I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you very much, sir, and good job in drafting this bill. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Senator Wheeler. And FYI, we passed this bill to go into effect July 15th, so we have some time. You have time to transition to be at 100% compliant.
Senator Higdon, since we started this committee meeting by welcoming in Senator Boswell. Senator Boswell, though he's not on the committee, would like to ask you a question.
Thank you for allowing me to do this. I am also, thank you, Senator, for this bill. I am also, like Senator Wheeler, guilty. I think it's going to be very helpful to me, if I'm being frank and honest. So I'm good with the bill, but my question is really about the funding. As a member of A&R, I'm always wanting to make sure the money's come into the general fund versus the other. So I'm not overly supportive of that part of the bill. But my question is based on what you said earlier. You said there were going to be some costs involved, that signs would have to be put on every road leading from, from our state. And it was also mentioned now costs about the updating of the manuals at the children. So there are going to be some costs involved. Would it be possible at least for some of these costs to be taken from these additional funding, because there will be some costs involved at least. So I would just ask that maybe we consider at least the cost to be considered that are going to be associated with this.
That's thank you. That is a good question, because there is a cost involved. The signs will be expensive, not overly expensive, but it will be paid for out of the transportation budget. It'll be included in that, and not as a line item, but just as a general maintenance issue. And you are correct. There will be a cost, and I will get a fiscal note on it, so you know, and I'll make a note about where the funds go.
Thank you, Senator Boswell. And the final question will come from Senator Elkins.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Senator, for bringing forth this piece of legislation. I think it's a good piece of legislation. My only issue with it is sometimes in some places I think it doesn't go far enough. I understand why we've removed some of the, I guess, stipulations from last year's bill. One that I would like to see, and I know your time in the Senate is limited, and I hate to see that, but one of my favorite phrases that you use is "I believe in the process," and I call dibs on that whenever he's gone, by the way. But I would really like to see us address the red light issue or stoplight issue. I think I know probably everybody in this room has sat behind someone at a red light or a stoplight looking at their phone, and everybody goes on the other lanes, and you're sat there stuck behind that person. I think that's a safety issue as well, and I would hope that maybe we could entertain an amendment or address it at some point in the future. But I guess that's all I had, was just a comment, Senator, and I appreciate your work on it. I know it's a lot of work that you did on this bill as well, and thank you for that.
You know, and I agree. Maybe we can make it after the first honk. It will cite you if you don't go after the first honk. But yeah, that is a good point. And again, with Senator Douglas's bill, we had a lot of comments, mainly not stopped at the light, but mainly being caught in if you're in traffic at a standstill, that you're not in violation of the law. So you're right. I believe in the process, and there's a long way between here and the governor's desk. So feel free to get with me on that as we move forward.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Senator.
You're very welcome, Senator Elkins. With that being said, I'll entertain a motion on the bill. We have a motion and a second on the bill. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Burke,
Explain my yes vote.
Go ahead.
I too have been practicing since we've talked about this. I need a better little dashboard thing because it keeps coming loose. But once you get in the habit of putting your phone, docking your phone when you get in the car, and then you do not touch it again until you get out of the car, it gets easier and easier. It really does. So I just want, for those people who this is going to be a big learning curve, believe me, I have been learning it, and it will take some learning, but it will make us all safer. So thank you for your efforts. I just want to add, would it not be a wonderful world? We know with this legislation, we're saving lives in this state. We're also saving our insurance carriers money. Would it not be wonderful if somehow, we could keep track of that and get those premiums back to the people who are paying them? Because literally, this will have an impact on what they end up paying out in this state. So thank you.
Senator Carpenter,
Aye.
Senator Clemens, Senator Elkins,
Aye.
Senator Smith,
Aye.
Senator Storm,
Explain my yes vote, please.
Go ahead.
I too believe, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I too believe in the process, and I appreciate the work you've done on this bill. And as Senator Wheeler pointed out, you've got me to a point where I can support this bill. And I just want to make sure that, for the record, you understand that if there's any form amendments or if it's not kept clean, I won't be able necessarily to support the bill moving forward. But I do appreciate your work on it, and I voted out today. Thank you.
Senator Wheeler, Senator Williams,
I'd like to explain my I vote, please.
Proceed.
With due respect to my good friend, the senator, who is concerned about people stopped at stoplights, I believe that is one of the reasons why I voted against it last year, was because every vehicle in the state is equipped with a green light alerting device that I think can be manually operated. The horns in New York start about a nanosecond after it turns green, and perhaps we could have, in Kentucky, we might delay it a few more seconds, but I think we could get AI, just like they dim the lights. Maybe we could have an AI device that recognizes turning green, and then you could automatically activate it. But anyway, I support it precisely because you can stop and make a call at a green light, unlike last year. So thank you very much. And I appreciate my good friend.
Senator Wilson. Senator Higdon.
Aye.
Chairman Douglas.
Aye. Senator Higdon, you've got a unanimous positive vote, so the motion passes. Senate Bill 28 is reported favorably, with the expression of opinion that the same should pass. So thank you so very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the committee. Thank you all, and I encourage everyone watching today is put that phone down and save lives. Thank you all.
Do I have a motion for adjournment?